So a general example, these characteristics are typical of cluster B behavior. So mainly histrionic, narcissistic, borderline presentations. Their instability of self-image, instability of self-worth, make them especially prone to misjudge their bodies. Okay, so this is why we see them so preoccupied and obsessed with their appearance, because their self-worth, their self-image is unstable. So they're prone to constantly judging themselves, sometimes positively, like they may think they look good when they really look horrible, or negatively, they may look fine. They might look absolutely fine and they think they're ugly. They think they're fat, but they look totally okay. They look healthy, right? But to them, they're just like, no, something's wrong with me. So this is this whole idea that somatics suffer. It's always about the body, right? It's always about something's wrong with my appearance. Something's wrong with my shape. A general example is the somatic presumes themselves to be sexually irresistible. Here we're more speaking towards the histrionic type, the hypersexualized, like Kim Kardashian, right? A person that puts out sex tapes, you know, a person that has a long history of serial dating, a person that is literally a type of cultural prostitute. Great example of a somatic type. Not to mention she does the plastic surgery, she has all the body dysmorphia. It's really perfect example. But yeah, sexually irresistible, exuding sexuality, right? Statuesque in shape, right? Godlike in appearance, chiseled. Okay, you use that term. I want to be chiseled. This idea of chiseled or Coke body shape. These are all like ideals that kind of sets the tone for the somatic narcissist. Chiseled, Coke body shape, etc. This idea of Greek god, right? It's often referenced, the body of a Greek god, right? These are all different forms of somatic narcissistic perspectives. And people who are preoccupied, this is a good way to look at these things. Now, of course, anyone preoccupied with this stuff, they're not Christians. Okay, let's just get that straight, right? People who are just totally focused on all of these things, they're not Christians to begin with, even if they claim that they are. Okay, because this is flesh consciousness we're talking about here. All of this stuff is flesh consciousness. Right? It has nothing to do with the truth. It has nothing to do with the Most High God. It has nothing to do with Christ. It's all about achieving your own satisfaction, your obsession, your preoccupation with flesh. Anybody that's into this, anybody that's obsessed with being chiseled and Coke body or is constantly referencing these things, or is only attracted to certain types, or has some rubric for what beauty is. These are all different representations of somatic narcissism. Very easy to see. They dedicate immense time and effort and money, mind you. Okay, these people put a lot of money into this stuff. Okay, time, effort, money in altering their bodies just for the achievement of attention. Gym bros and bimbos. These are great examples of somatic narcissists. You go to the gym, you see all these, there's this archetype now, the gym bro, right? That's a perfect example of a somatic narcissist. And bimbos, these kind of bimbo type, very superficial, very stereotypical. The Stacys and the Chads. The Stacys and the Chads are great examples of somatic narcissists. And it's interesting how these characters, these archetypes, organically come about out of culture. The Stacys, the Chads, the incels, they've organically come out of culture. It's not like someone wrote this stuff. This is real reaction to society and the fallen nature of man. It's a real reaction, and it's fascinating to me how when they create these organic ideas, they perfectly equate to things like somatic narcissism, things like cerebral narcissism, things like spiritual possession. They perfectly align. They're just parallel with all of this stuff. It's really interesting. Yeah, they're masters of seduction. Okay, these people are masters of seduction. They're masters of sexual seduction mainly. And even they'll seduce you with their belongings. They'll seduce you with their cars. They'll seduce you with their brand names, right? They'll find some way to seduce you. It's all about seduction. It's about seducing you into giving them that attention. Very animalistic, predatorial, pathological, right? That's what they're about. Sex, attention, and the envy of others is a form of currency to them. Okay, it's even worth more than real currency. That's why they spend all their money on it. Money's nothing to them. They want the attention. They want the effect. They want the reaction. They want to see you walking with that $5,000 bag, or that, you know, those exclusive Gucci shoes or whatever, right? They want to feed on that. They want to make you envious. See, the narcissist wants to make you jealous. The narcissist thrives on you envying them because they hate themselves. And the interesting thing about narcissism is that they play this game like they're so independent and they're so strong and they're so brave. We understand that's a facade. But what's deeper is these types are actually codependents. The narcissist of all types, doesn't matter what type, introverted, extroverted, vulnerable, grandiose, they're all codependent. They rely on your attention. They rely on your perspective of them. They rely on how you perceive them. Without you, they disappear. It's fascinating. They're compulsive consumers of compliments, of praise, and of attention. Cars, clothing, lavish, party life, luxury, lifestyles of the rich and famous. I mean, do you guys remember this show? I mean, it really popularized the idea of being rich and famous and being cool, and everyone wants to be like you. And then you add in the beauty. Really, really interesting how they were pushing this kind of stuff long time ago. It breeds the ideals, it breeds the worldview into the rest of society. So that's what's dangerous about promoting narcissism, is some people are predisposed to narcissistic behaviors based on their upbringing. A great majority of people are, to some degree, predisposed to some of these behaviors. Now, when they're brought up in a culture that just embodies all of these behaviors, promotes all of this stuff, they're susceptible to it and they fall into it, and they become stuck in the flesh, depressed, anxious, suicidal ideation, all of these things, right? Hollywood, the music industry, pretty much thrive on somatic narcissism. That's why I think it's important to even mention it, because our entertainment industries thrive on this specific type of narcissism. Online, especially YouTube, is brimming with somatic narcissists. And then you look at the IG models, Instagram, brimming with somatic narcissists. And the beauty industry, okay, the makeup and body modification industry. You know, now you got guys involved with this. It's like they live their life to paint their face. It's such a massive industry, and all they do is paint their face, and they try to make themselves look different by contour. There's this whole contour movement where all these girls, they're just so obsessed with like changing their shape of features and manipulating your perception of their features by putting makeup in certain ways that makes them appear in their eyes, or basically to their standard, more beautiful, right? And of course, I know they're trying to appeal to symmetry. I get it. There is this real component of form called symmetry, and the more symmetric a face is, the more attractive it appears. I understand the science of it, but it becomes narcissistic when practicing this type of face painting becomes basically your identity. Right? It becomes a part of your self-esteem. It's now, every girl that wears makeup is not a narcissist. I'm not saying this, but what I'm saying is when you get into the depths of some of this, it's highly narcissistic, especially the Instagram models and the YouTube makeup artists and these makeup gurus and stuff. Really, really wild stuff, especially when you get the guys involved with this, these men, these boys, these whatever they are. They're highly, highly possessed. They suffer from serious illnesses, and somatic narcissism is the perfect type of narcissism that they struggle from. This specific type, it's very sensory focused, very body appearance, flesh focused. But yeah, narcissists are actually codependents. They're actually malignant codependents, where they're addicted to manipulating their environment. and they rely on the reactions and perceptions of others to feel real, to feel alive, to exist. They need you to give them meaning. They live in a false reality, basically. So they frequent industries of allure. Okay, this is an important point. They are constantly trying to seduce in every possible way. So we see them in fashion. Okay, this is why we see Kim Kardashian in fashion. We see Kanye in fashion. He's not necessarily a somatic type as much as Kim Kardashian is, but he's still a version of the somatic type, and openly mentally ill. Fashion, okay, makeup, fitness, beauty products, okay, perfume. You see a lot of these types always involved in perfume, this alluring industries.